Right, people. Yeah.
Y'all please rise, remove your headgear and Randy, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we do indeed have a quorum. We have no absences. And does anybody else have any other business you'd like to add to the agenda? No? Okay, then with that, I would accept a motion for the consent agenda.
I motion that we accept the consent agenda. And I'll
Go
second it.
for it. Back up, take a back seat.
Great, a motion and second, any further?
Yes, bills have not been reviewed yet. And
I
they're
do
on,
believe
They're
that
right here.
they're on the consent agenda.
it's written differently now.
Oh,
It's actually written.
Oh.
It's,
The last item in the.
Bills and payroll approval with your signatures, so you're approving it with, as long as it gets the 3 signatures.
even if it hasn't happened at this moment.
So it's kind of a contingent approval,
okay, so nobody gets to leave until it happens.
so,
So I'm starting now.
okay, so all in favor
I,
and opposed? Great. Let's see, department reports, we'll start with me giving my last pro tem. Very nice to have Sherry here, thank you. And thanks to council for all of the budget work that you've been doing and all of your hard work. And thank you for all the extra meetings. We've been having a workshop weekly for as long as I can remember now. For a couple.
Burn into your brain, Eric.
The budget's looking pretty good. We're gonna have a first reading of the budget and the budget amendment on the 11th, a special meeting. We had to do that because we didn't understand
I mean,
the timing. You start much earlier and get it announced in the newspaper and such. So that will happen, first reading will happen next Monday on the 11th, and then we will do the second reading on our regular meeting. We decided, did we do that in the water sewer rates? We did that in the workshop, didn't we? So we're gonna hold off on changing the water sewer rates because council didn't feel that the current way we were just doing flat 6% across the board was correct for a number of our citizens. And those are mostly the citizens at risk. So we're going to spend Q1 figuring that out. So we determined we can afford not having an increase for the one billing cycle that we're gonna not have it for. It's kind of a rough goal is to make it a little more pay for what you use, so increase the cost of your overages, maybe a slight decrease to the amount you get by your base pay, and hopefully something in place so that if you're retired or disabled with low usage and some minor means testing, we can give you a slightly lower rate. So that's kind of the hopes we're giving ourselves Q1 to get that figured out. But to get Sherry on board to help drive that as well. I continue to work with the help from staff and volunteers on the LGIP. That's the city's investments to get an understanding for that. And we were reviewing 27 years worth of investments, which is also 324 months worth of the data's all in. We're getting a better feel for what we have where, and we're making corrections. I attended an artificial intelligence webinar. We will be generating a policy along with some other policies. We're holding off on our policy changes as well because we can focus on the budget, but we will be addressing policies in Q1, and AI will be one of them. I think it will be very valuable for the city as far as helping staff do their job better or quicker and better maybe. Got reviews done today. Sherry and I did those, And it was a nice, it went pretty quick and easy. It was a nice way to hand off the staff to the new mayor. And been talking quite a bit with Sherry, and we're gonna be spending this week as well, kind of getting the transition happening. Let's see. And council, don't forget the AWC elected officials webinar that we're doing this Saturday. That is it for me. Public Works.
Hello. Congratulations. Very good to have a new mayor for the city. I know you do very well, much respect. First of all, we went and helped the PD get a file cabinet and a safe. Which I know worked out good.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, good, okay. Not really a lot to bring to the table. Santa Claus, thanks Joe for driving Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus to the parade for the last 3 years. We did the tree, all the lights on the tree. So that got done. And also the lift is reserved for New Year's to get the lights off the tree and the cheese ball drop. Other than that, that's about all I got.
Thanks. Any other questions for Public Works?
Go ahead, shoot.
Thank you, Mike.
I know. Can we build it?
Dwayne.
So back home, it's like 17 degrees, so a lot of snow and ice there. Yeah, very fortunate to be over here. Again, thanks Mike for bringing that in, the safe and the filing cabinet that we located at surplus. Hope it wasn't too heavy.
No, he loaded it with the forklift.
Nice.
Then I had John.
All right, good to go. So as you know,
He
we
can take his table, the horse in this table out here, so.
So as you know, we attended and escorted the annual Santa Quad Parade. Is it Nora? Is it Nora? Nora did a great job on that again, and this year we added a few things to make sure that the city was secure liability wise. Let's see, case number 21 Henry 250. We have I have a 3-5 hearing on December 11th for that. 23 Henry 185. Again, on December 11th at 9 AM, I'll be at the Lewis County District Court to take care of that. We interviewed the applicants for the lateral police officers. Letters will be sent out shortly, probably this week, once I get them done. Received approval from the council and the mayor to purchase evidence locker and evidence items such as bags, tape, etc. We have those ready to go. Just waiting to have them ordered. That should be happening probably this week, hopefully. We're in the process of recertifying our radars and our sector units. We're going to be working on those as well. Continuing with the policy and procedure manual revision with the new additional information when I attended the use of force conference there in Moses Lake. And about 37 calls for services throughout this last month. So other than that, everything's going good. And thank you. Any questions?
I just wanted to piggyback onto your evidence locker thing, point out that Rachel negotiated a substantial reduction in shipping costs.
Negotiation, yep, that's the articulation. She did a good job. Don't make her mad. I should say I shouldn't make her mad.
Thanks for doing that. Thanks, Brendan. Go ahead.
So for City Hall, we got our Wiggle Stock grant.
Awesome.
Thank you. She did really good. So we got $25,000. We should receive paperwork this week and I'll get it right off to you so we can get started. The back office is completely filled out and the files have been filed. When we got here, there was like stacks and stacks and stacks of things that had not been filed. And so our back filing cabinet was just, you couldn't find anything. We'd go look for a file and we didn't know if it was in the filing cabinet or if it was on top of the filing cabinet, so. Carly and I came in on Sunday and got a lot of that cleaned up, and then I had never even made it back to Michelle's, or Jill, whoever was back there, but. I just kind of stayed working up here, and so we were able to clean out that back office and at least get the shelves cleaned off. The office is now updated. I don't know if any of you have seen it. We have these amazing new stand-up desks, which is great. We all have new wiring, new monitors, which has made it really nice that we're not just sitting all day looking at, monitors from 1950. We've
Which
also,
I'm gonna interrupt, it's kind of important because the software package that we pay a lot of money for, you couldn't see a printed report on one page, you had to scroll up and down
Yeah.
to use the software, like just about that much. It's nerve wracking.
yeah, they were blurry and just with the lights and everything, it was just getting kind of hard. And we also have standing workstations, again, where, a lot of people work in an office all day and you're here 8 to 10 hours and hunched over a desk. So we've got a couple standing workstations throughout, which really just helps with our workflow. We don't, we can work at the printer, we can work in the back office, we don't have to, shuffle papers all over the place. What else? I've just been trying to continue to support Eric, with the budget, trying to shadow what he's doing. Reviewing the templates that he's made, so that way next year when I come in to take over this process, they should be pretty smooth. I know he's done all the legwork, so hopefully it'll be pretty easy for 2024. Carly's picking up more and more tasks, and she's starting to get involved in the agenda process, which is really nice, because it'll relieve some of our volunteers from everything that they do, and she's actually back there taking minutes right now, which is great. We found a clerk conference, I think it's in June, so we will provide more information on that in January. It's definitely something that I'd like to see Carly and I both get to. We're getting ready to close out my first year here. So we're putting together our 2023 boxes, and once that's done, then we're gonna have to jump back to 22, because it didn't look like those were completely closed out. From my understanding, they left middle of December. So I still have to go back and make sure that their year-end procedures were done. So when we close out 23, we'll be able to close out 22 as well. Credit cards. So the city of Toledo has a $5,000 credit limit with our credit card, which has made things really impossible.
And if you wanna pay it off and charge some more, how long does that take?
So if we send a check, it takes at least 2 weeks for them to receive it and deposit it to our account. If I call and pay with a check over the phone, it still takes 5 to 7 business days, and we've never seen it actually clear in 5 to 7 business days. It usually takes at least 10. And our desk alone, office equipment ran us up, and then Mike wasn't able to do what he needed to do. And there's no online access. The credit card that they have, you can't log in to your credit card and do anything online. You can't get your statements. You can't call and request another statement, because I'm not the one that opened the account. I have to go down to Olympia with the person. So anyways, it's a long story, but we went ahead and got a Costco card, which allowed us to get a Costco Visa card. And I don't know if any of you guys have that, but they're great. So we got a $25,000 credit limit now. We have online access, and we can go buy things really cheap at Costco. And it also has cash
payment.
Yeah, same day payment and cashback benefits. I know, like my personal card, I probably get $700 or $800 back in cash a year, so it's nice. We have more recycling grants coming up for 2024. Emily has 2 dates set up. There are other dates available. They would just need to be city staffed for things like appliances and paint and all that stuff. So I'm working with Emily to see if she wants to do any more dates. And then our records management grant is coming back around. I think we're gonna push a little harder, and I know when we submitted the grant the last time, we did not even realize there was another door in our storage room that went back into all of our files. So I think once we had those and pictures of those, we'll probably get that grant, so.
You didn't find the signs back there, did you?
The what?
The signs?
Yes.
What's that?
Because
I don't know, but yeah, so we've been really busy, you know, that's. We've been busy, ready to close out 23.
Excellent. Any questions? Thanks. All right, council reports, Emily.
let's see, I attended the Santa's workshop at the Morgan's Art Center. Which was amazing, and I saw Santa, i.e. our Public Works was there, performing good works.
With, Stanford, not real.
He was helping out.
Only if you're mine.
Children are up this late anyway, it's a school night.
What is your point?
They don't watch these boring meetings.
To interrupt you, if you missed the Santa Claus parade, you missed Santa and you missed Claus, and they were decked out. You missed something, you should definitely hit it next year.
The dates, yeah, I got, the, recycling to come in for this next year. But we can talk about that when it gets closer, so, prepare, start accumulating now. Let's see. Oh, yes, I found another grant. Yay. And I sent it already over to Rachel with a 54-page booklet. It's a update your boating facilities and renovate them with an application due date of October 31st.
Voting.
So if we want any sort of update, it might be a good idea to start thinking about that now.
Voting, you said voting?
Voting.
Motorized boats,
Voting.
boating
Cool.
with
Vo-
boats, yes. on the
That's more
water.
useful than voting would be.
Cowlitz River, the Cowlitz
Oh,
River.
voting, okay.
Boating to update our boats.
I'm on the same
Anyway, It's a
page.
grant that just came up on the RCO thing. It just popped up, not like within the last 2 or 3 days, so. And that's all I got, so.
I
Thank you.
think that we're going to add, we should add grants to like the committee reports section.
Hmm.
So that we can have a spot to talk about grants. That would be a good thing.
And this is something that it might be coming up in the future too, so if we wanna just think about how we could. Update, maybe something the parks could talk about, how they want to update. The boat
Oh,
launch in the
okay.
future, perhaps, that would be a good idea for them to start talking about that.
Great.
So,
Perfect. Okay. Excellent.
okay,
Rebecca.
Nothing to report this.
Nothing. Happy.
Went to that Santa Quad. 19 quads. That,
yeah.
it was good.
And a riding mower.
And a riding, okay.
Riding mowers are fair game now.
Apparently.
No spinning, the cutting device.
Oh, yeah.
Keep the deck quiet.
And just more hours spent going over budget.
Thank you for that. That it?
Yes, thank you.
Jamie.
Hey, so. I helped Eric go over this LPIG thing.
LPAG. LPID, but that was.
Le Pig. It was a total mess and I feel an embarrassment for the city for 27, 28 years. So I'm really glad that we're getting it back on course and it will properly reflect what we have in there and what the ownership is. So, and the fact that we have provided the supporting documentation for it too. So that it'll be substantiated. That's about it.
Excellent. Thank you, Jamie. Planning Commission. Anything to say?
Talked to the state, they finally called back, pretty much told us it's a pound salt. in so many words. That they want to monitor the present situation without the signs. And that they don't feel that 20 mile per hour signs are warranted. And that they don't want to put in a red light lens. And with the subject of perhaps having them fund pedestrian crossing lights like we'd like to. Because they're like $25,000 a pop. Then I got the poor mouth speech on how they don't have any money. And then she volunteered to send me all the information on grants. And essentially it was 3 paragraphs of what types of grants are available for particular situations. But not specific grants that are actually out there.
I think it would probably be good to follow that up with the mayor's letter. Saying that we really prefer not to wait until our residents are injured at that intersection.
That was the final parting shot I had for her, was that somebody in your office needs to know that you are slowly building your own liability into this. Because somebody is going to get hit there. And they're going to sue, and they're going to come to the city, and we're going to point at the state. And tell them that for years we've been trying to get the state to do something. And all you've done is repaint the crosswalk. And the question is gonna come up, what else did you do? And you're not gonna have anything to say, so. Ultimate liability is gonna end up falling on them, and they should be aware of that. She didn't take that well.
Thank you for taking up the matter for that.
So is that 20 miles going through the
Oh.
city?
Well, we had asked for that last July when we had a meeting with them in-house. And we were told it needed to go up the proper channels. Well, it comes to find out. What she said, no, what we really meant was that if we felt that it was warranted, we would take it up the channels. But we don't feel it's warranted, so it never actually got an audience.
So the city does not have any right to monitor their traffic.
Essentially,
So I think it should be a mayor council letter. That we're fully in support of.
Yeah.
And
and
I think the governor could be CC'd on it too.
well, Ed Orcott has been copied on every email that we've sent, so he's also been in the response emails the state sent back. But, and he's on the traffic commission, so I'm not sure exactly what, my lovely wife wanted to know. If we thought that perhaps getting a hold of our federal representative locally might have any advantage. And I'm not sure what that would be. But if that's something you'd like us to do, or we could address the same letter to her.
And Steve, were we asking for the 20 mile/hour to start right there by the espresso shop?
The top of the hill where that
Makes
railing
sense when you
comes
start
down.
slowing down, so you're not coming through here at 25 miles an hour, which is almost ridiculous. You
Right,
know, if it's
exactly.
foggy and it's raining, I mean, you can't even see somebody in a crosswalk.
No,
You're gonna just run, you're just gonna run them over.
Even if it's clear at night, the time.
I mean, I've watched the citizens of Toledo walk through the crosswalk and they're like, oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Going to the main.
It's like, you know, this is my life I'm dealing with here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree 100%, it's ridiculous. I mean, slowing down to 20 miles an hour, I don't think it's too much to
Like
ask.
you versus the log truck.
Exactly.
well, their response to this, I said, well. Why don't we try a red lens? We're not asking for signalization, just a red lens. Let's make it a stop. And she goes, well, then we'd be concerned that pedestrians would get the idea that traffic's gonna stop and they wouldn't pay any attention.
Because we're all idiots.
Sorry. I don't have an answer to that.
Did you ask her if she's ever been to Toledo?
No, I didn't.
Maybe she should drive down
Steve, you
here.
wanna stop the flow of business? Is that what you're trying to do? Huh?
And so planning commission has a meeting Wednesday at 6 p.m. here.
Next one.
Not that I'm aware of.
2 weeks.
Well, it's the third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday of the month.
Mr. Butcher.
No, okay, you should let this one.
It's the third Wednesday of the month.
Okay,
It's like a,
20th?
yeah, it's more like the 20th night we'll be zooming in.
Okay. Sounds
We
good.
checked anyone.
That it for you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Is there somebody here from the park board that would like to speak? No? Okay,
They're out tonight.
okay, so now we have a public hearing, it looks like. So, pause the meeting and start the public hearing for the fixing the 2024 budget. If anybody has any input, would like to talk to us about the budget, been posted. If you haven't seen it, I think there might still be copies there.
I have a comment.
Yes,
I want to thank you, Rachel, Cindy, on behalf of the Toledo citizens for all the work you've done. I know it's been huge. And I just want to thank you, all of you, for what you've done.
thank you. Anybody else have any feedback on the budget?
I second that.
With the budget setting up the way it is now, and all the amount of work you guys have put in the last several months. Does it look like the next time an audit rolls around, we're actually gonna pass the thing?
You know, the budget and the audit,
Right,
they're not hand
yeah,
in hand.
right.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it. Eric has put in a
A million.
tremendous amount of work, but the work that he's put in is he's literally set us up for success. To where instead of 10 keying everything out on yellow line paper, what payroll's gonna look like, you literally go in there. And I can say, you know, the L&I's increased 4%, and I can put 4%, and it literally will calculate everyone's L&I, and I mean, there's the formulas that are in there, it makes everything kind of a breeze, and so. There's a lot of work that's gone into it, so that way we're not gonna have so much work. It's not gonna be so difficult and so time consuming next year, and we're just setting up dates, you know, like there's certain times that. We needed to have certain things done. And so while we're kind of scrambling this year and trying to piece it all together, I think next year it's gonna be really clearer, and the worksheets that we have are just gonna make it a lot easier, so. As far as the budget and the auditors go, that side of it's going to be fine. We put a lot of work into fixing things.
Yeah.
And understanding why things are the way they are, and things like the LGIP that are not what they were supposed to be. We've got documentation on what we're doing. The things that were called out by the auditors are, you know, there's, all of that has been fixed. A lot of that had to do with our annual FAO reports. And then there was some policies that we needed to update, which we will be tackling in January, but it's all stuff that's been leading up to this, so. That's kind of a twofold question, but the budget side, yeah.
Awesome.
So 2022 is gonna need some repairs.
Yeah, 22, 23, and 24 is what they're gonna look at our next audit, and they will be looking at it, so.
And we think 23 is looking better.
Oh, yeah.
We've been going back because 23 is still open, it's still flexible. So we've been repairing
Sorry, that was.
things from earlier in the year, and 22 is a little more complicated to open up, but you're going to do that, and so you'll have to restate taxes and other things.
Yeah, and the auditors, they're actually, they kind of get involved, they know what's going on, so I don't think we'll just have new people thrown at us where they're like, well, we don't care. You know, I think they were pretty understanding as to everything going on, so they're gonna look at 23 and 24, and I think they're just gonna give us pointers on 22, anything that's not fixed, so.
It would be nice if we didn't get any management letters, we darn well better not get another finding.
Yeah.
Steve?
Question, we're gonna start getting revenue in from planning and development. And I don't see a planning and development in the budget as yet.
It's
unless-
there.
Did I miss it?
There's one.
They'll a lot of the line items have been renamed to be a little more understandable.
Oh.
And for planning, you'll see it ends in a dash PL. So, and those will all be in the 001 fund, so the first main fund.
Okay,
So
so
planning has revenue and expense side available, and it has its own budget.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, so just a little more specifically, since we're kind of in a hearing about it. The Parks has its own budget now, so they've got their own profit loss. That came out in the black, actually, with all the money we're getting from having the online reservations. It looks like we might be able to pull off a year of the budget in the black, where it's not just being funded by the general fund. The court system is not in the black, but it is also, it has its own budget. And what else has its own budget that's new?
Planning.
Planning, and planning has its own budget, yeah.
Can I expand? On the courts budget, does the courts, are we able to take revenue from fines? And then place that into a revenue item? Okay. So he can write tickets down?
The revenue is not gonna be on the, I don't think, right? Is that how you gonna say it?
We didn't budget revenue for, we're not gonna run, we don't run that as a quota system.
Right.
Or whatnot, so we're not budgeting income, but we assume it'll happen.
It'll be an afterthought. I mean, it'll be an addition to. Okay,
It'll be amended.
that's what I meant.
Yeah. No.
Anybody else? I see you staring over there back there, go on, no?
Well, I mean, I was just looking at like, for example, like the training, and
Yes.
there's like. Next to no training or travel budget for the new mayor. I mean, she's gonna need some kind of training and travel and things like that in her new position, I would think.
A lot of them are grants, especially with new council members and mayors, so a lot of those are gonna be done in grants.
We're a small city, so we get a deal from the AWC, there's an Association of Washington Cities that gives us free entry into pretty much everything they put on.
And for that, like her travel costs $150 per year, so you're not gonna be able to send a break forever often.
We can adjust that. I did not touch those. Those have been the traditional numbers, but honestly, there's not a lot of that's been going on, so.
Right.
If that turns out to not work.
Right, and the grant, or the class, or the workshop that she's going to this weekend, it's once every 3 years or 4 years, so it's not something that she's gonna have to do yearly. A lot of them can be done online. So,
Yeah, I believe council is very amenable to education in general.
Yeah.
I think that's for staff and for.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
She can always come before the council and ask for,
Tuition or.
yeah, tuition or
Might
gas
be needed.
money or.
And I think we're gonna be starting to do regular budget amendments anyway, and all of that's gonna be a quarterly type thing. So as that's getting consumed, we're really trying to actually operate to a legit budget. And so it's better to, you spend that and then it gives us an opportunity to talk about it and say, is this warranted or not, and we'll learn from it this year. And then carry that forward. Do definitely appreciate the input.
Sure about it.
Good.
Good.
That's it.
Yeah.
Last call. All right. We will continue the council meeting. So moving on to new business. No? Public comment. Oh, thank you. She was whispering. Public comment on agenda items. Anybody have public comment on agenda items? No? Okay. Now we can talk about new business, resolution 275. That's updating our bank signatories, and that will be to add our new mayor. And so it's a resolution authorizing certain individuals as signatories for the bank accounts of the city of Toledo. Whoever's going to make a motion, I would please ask that you add Jamie as a fourth signatory. And what that'll do is give us 2 council members, the mayor and the treasurer.
I make a motion that we accept resolution number, what is it?
275.
275 and add Jamie onto the addition of signatories for the account as well.
And adding Sherry.
And adding
As the
Sherry
mayor.
as the new mayor.
And
Sherry DeVore.
I would also like to amend that we, it's not for all bank accounts, it's just for
The general.
the general,
The general.
not the general account. Because that's only the
Sorry, I'm
same.
trying to find it here. It's right at the bottom.
So did we get a second? We didn't stop.
I'll second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second and. Confirming you got that down, that it's that with 2 modifications.
Yeah.
Great. Any other discussion?
I'd just like to point out that the purpose of having backup signatories is so that if somebody needs a 2-week vacation after putting all this work in, then we have backup signatories. We also have it in place so that the person writing the checks is not signing the checks, which is one of the things the auditors brought out.
Yes. That's been our for quite a while, so it's good to see that. Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call it vote. All in favor
Aye.
and opposed? Passes. That's it for new business. Moving on to unfinished business, the Buzzard O'Rourke Services Agreement renewal. So since we last, we had this on our council meeting, but we didn't have access to the previous contract handy, so we really didn't know what the changes were, and it looks like the changes are just a rate increase for Mr. Buzzard himself of from 200 to 250 and his assistant staff. That would be Marissa at from 100 to 1.5.
I make a motion that we accept Buzzard O'Rourke Service Agreement renewal.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion second. Anybody else like to, anybody else to discuss? We do need to get our legal consumption under control. It was a bit out of control last year. So we're gonna have to be figuring out how we can pull that off. I think that's getting along a little bit, will help. Okay, so any other discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor
Aye.
and opposed? Motion passes. All right, so we're on to other business, my favorite part of the meeting. Sherry, would you like to come on up here? Let's swear you.
All day swear. I do all the time, Eric.
All right, I'm gonna give you a copy of the different.
Belong.
You're right. So I state your name.
I, Sherry DeVore,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I am a citizen of the United States,
that I am a citizen of the United
the
States,
state of Washington, and the city of Toledo,
state of Washington, and the city of Toledo,
that I will support the Constitution and laws
that I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of Washington State,
the Constitution and laws of Washington State,
and the ordinances of the city of Toledo,
and the ordinances of the city of Toledo,
and will to the best of my judgment, skill, and ability,
and will, to the best of my judgment, skill, and ability,
truly, faithfully, and diligently,
truly, faithfully, and diligently,
and impartially perform the duties of the position of mayor
and impartially perform the duties of the position of mayor
for the city of Toledo, Lewis County, Washington,
for the city of Toledo, Lewis County, Washington,
as such duties are prescribed by law.
as such duties are prescribed by law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Name ready.
Welcome.
And
everybody.
you have one act to do with posting, and that would be called for public.
Do we have any public comment? Go ahead.
I do.
Oh,
Hi.
yes.
Addressing the ATV thing. No motorcycles, dirt bikes, or lawnmowers. So I don't know why that's in there. I didn't put this on my flyer. But they were very adamant about no lawnmowers. Et cetera, so.
I would like to make a public announcement as a counselor and also as a resident of Toledo. I think if you have a wheeled contraption and you want to put it in the parade and light it up, you should talk to the chief of police before you go do it.
Yeah, we have all year to go ahead and.
And we've,
Yeah,
yes.
I think that's between the council and the mayor. What is the focus of the parade?
To have fun.
Obviously, when you start something up, it's, you know, people are gonna say this is how it's gonna go, A, B, C, and D. Those things can be amended. We'll talk about it, and figure it out. No weed eaters.
Yeah, no, me neither, either.
But yes, thank you for bringing that to us. We'll definitely revisit that. We'll talk with Nora as well and make sure it's adjusted as need be. I think the reason for the lawnmowers is probably if they're deckless. I'm assuming it just has to do with the blades is my guess. So, but
Can't answer that. But I would make this request,
yes,
maybe we can move it to a different Saturday.
we can definitely discuss that.
Napa Vine, Chehalis, and Capital.
I
Is that something going on at the same time?
Yeah, so
I personally would like to see it the first Saturday of Thanksgiving. So we're the first ones,
Yeah, exactly.
starts the trend.
and I just say that, so, you know. Everybody's got their thing going on during the season, we get out there first,
Exactly. Girls,
do the bazaars and food drives and everything else.
And I think we talked about maybe putting burn barrel out there with some fire, barrels, about that.
Bigger chair.
Some hot dogs, some hot cocoa. Just thinking about.
That walking out in Vision's leading.
yeah, yes.
So I could bring my yard waste over?
So burn barrel.
Yeah, and then we want to upgrade the tree as well.
Yes.
Bring your
The
drag.
We're supposed to work on for next year, so it's moving along at a good pace.
Yeah.
But I did notice Toledo helped with the tree today. We're decorated the tree. I don't know how long it's been there.
I know that it was up earlier this week. Yeah,
Hard to see in the falls.
yes. Do we have any more comments? Yes.
Joanna Jones, I'm sort of the grant writer for anyone who needs a grant writing.
Yes.
We are looking to form a committee through anyone in the city that wants to be part of it, or the greater community that wants to be part of it. And not necessarily expecting anyone to actually write the grant themselves, but to have us, give us input. Emily mentioned that there is a boat grant coming up. And we need to be ready for those things, so we need to, as a community, address, what do you want us to be applying for? This is 2024 coming up, it's an even year, and what happens with the state grant system, this is the year you write the grants for 25-27. It's a biennium. And so we need to have something in place that you can tell us, this is what we're looking forward to. We want to have this done, and so we kind of need to be starting to get our ducks in a row instead of just being reactionary. Oh, wait, something's happening, you know, or this is decrepit and falling apart. And it's really difficult then to find the grants when you get to that point. So we need to be more proactive in the way that we handle those things. And also today I got invited by the RCO, which is the Recreation and Conservation Office, to attend their board meeting. Didn't go in person, did the Zoom. Because we did not get a grant that I felt we should have gotten a grant because of our need. And so this is to address changing the grant system. Yes. And so it's a really good meeting. They are changing their grant system, and I think it will be more inclusive. And it's still gonna be difficult to write. There's no way of getting around it. But I think that they're looking to focus more and actually defining what rural is.
Yeah.
Rural is not that you live outside of Seattle. And in
Right.
that community,
Yeah.
you know, and changing their criteria, what was that, super vulnerability thing that was sort of a data made up.
Data
phrase.
points, yeah, exactly.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, so we need to be ready to do all of those. So anybody that wants to be on those kind of committees, love to have your input and your help. And so you can call me, Joe Jones, or contact the city, and, Rachel knows how to get a hold of me, so does Emily, and Vision Toledo will be part of it too, so we'll get lots of input from different levels of the community, including kids, all of those things. There is a lot of good RCO grants coming up. There's one for 1.2 million for, what do you call that? Community outdoor athletic facility. Oh, so that could be something that the school district goes to. I know they are looking at that. But they also told me that if we want to do something,
Anybody wants to look at the grants?
as the city, we can also. And they recommended that if we wanted to do that, it would show that there is a substantial need, because my thing is, I don't want to take away anything from them. We know how much need there is for that track and field. So we'll see. It's gonna depend on what their parameters are, but we're looking at another type of grant that could be coming in for us that is a planning for parks, so that we can then qualify for some of these. They want you to have a plan in place with them, the state. So if they're gonna pay for it and we don't have to pay anything towards it, that is gonna be, helpful for us.
I have a question, Joe.
Sure.
So when you're planning these, when you're writing these grants, do you find that it's helpful to have, council have a line item for that grant already in place that's named? Or, do you have any advice for us as council that would be helpful for you as a grant writer?
One of the things that is going to be more important as we move forward, I think, is that it's in a comprehensive plan. Everything is saying, does your park have a comprehensive plan? Does this, is your fire safety having a comprehensive plan? All of those kinds of things. So, that's one of the things we need to look at. And I did invite RCO. They were very receptive to the letter that I sent to them. And I got numerous long calls, like 1.5 to 2 hour long calls with numerous people from RCO. And did come out and invite them to come here. You're turning us down when we have a need for things, but you've never been here. Like what he was saying, you have no idea what we are looking at. And so that needs to be addressed so that, so they are looking at coming. They just had a lot of vacations. And so I'm going to reach out to them again in this week and see if we can set up a date. But that would be nice if we had some council members and several of the other community members that want to have say so. There's money out there, things that can bring more money into the community. For example, we have a watershed. And I found out that you can have a trail in that watershed, and they have grants for trails, numerous grants. And that can bring a lot of people into the community, is just having, things for people to do. And especially if those things aren't going to be taking a lot of upkeep and a lot of money from us, but that we can advertise as something that we have available for people to come into the community.
Yeah, you could have those be like.
So this is also part of why we need to have this grants committee. Start looking at what the grants are out here, what do we have, what can bring more money into the city, and that's going to also not change the feel of the city for people that don't feel like they want that. So this would be a way for them to participate too.
I think that comprehensive plan is actually part of the procurement policy. How we're paying the grants and how, I'm working on that.
Yeah,
So we
I
should
think
have
you were
that.
you were getting a grant to do that, weren't you? Or someone was going to pay for that through Lewis County, or?
I think it's like.
No, that's our growth
our assets and stuff.
So all of those things can be used in a grant as data. Oh, this is in our growth management plan. This is what we're looking for in the future. The fact that we know we have more people coming into this community, and that's going to change our diversity and all these other things. So yeah, it's all part of that. And we are becoming more data focused, because as you said, you can input things and change things. So that I'm finding more and more grants are wanting what they are calling data weighted metrics.
I can help with that.
Yes. Yes.
Are you looking for the city to help you form this committee?
If you'd like to, yeah, could be. Yeah.
We do have a spot to put it in the committee reports, so maybe that's something that the city can help you with.
Yeah, that would be great. I think we really need everything. You know, people from the Lions Club, people from Vision Toledo, people, just general public people. You know, the planning commission people want to be on that. Threw that out there. You know. But people like Amber that have needs can tell us, okay, I'm not coming to every meeting, but this is what I'm looking for that I need help with. And if you can find it, you know, and you can give us
I'll
ideas.
tell you.
Yeah.
So we could have
Don't be
some,
shy.
so we could have some kind of a template for creating shovel-ready projects that we can
Yes.
just have fill out. So we've got a folio of, these are, various projects. And so when you see a grant that fits one of them,
Yes.
it's ready.
And how do we make our needs fit that grant? So that's the thing with the Wiggle Stop. There is no grants out there right now for ADA playgrounds, and our playground isn't gonna make it much longer. So how do we change that to fit into that? And that's where the Wiggle Stop got us tourism dollars. So it's all of that with other people's ideas. It can't just be, one person with complete wackadoodle idea, which mine sometimes works, but
It works.
it worked.
There's
Nobody's more hot than me.
Oh, right now, there's 3 grants for waterfront access of
Yes.
$1 million.
Mhm.
That's what we
And they're
want.
also too, part of this changing criteria, is that, they will look more at, when we say need-based communities, that we aren't expected to come forth with as much of a match. And so, one of the defining things that I suggested and have for a long time is you look at the budget. All you need to know is the ending budget. So somebody that's got a $200 million construction budget isn't very needy. Do you know what I mean? Versus somebody that's got $1 million annual budget for a city. So those kind of things I think are gonna be actually taken into account. And keeping my fingers crossed, but that's what it's looking like at this point, so. And hopefully it won't be just with them, but it'll go across the state grant system, so hopefully.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you so much, Joe.
You're welcome.
Playing upon the same thing that she was getting at. A lot of those grants do require matching funds, generally 5 to 15%, sometimes more. But part of the issue with charging impact fees that Winlock used to their advantage was they used their impact fees to start funds for the various departments so that the matching funds were available and on hand when the grants came through, so they didn't have to go wrestling for money. So when the city council gets to the point of maybe adopting an ordinance that deals with impact fees for new development, the impacts to parks, the impacts to traffic, the impacts to flow, all the other different areas that the city could charge impact fees for, whether they're small or they're large. You're still building a fund that could then be used as the matching payment for a grant that's considerably more.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, maybe we could establish a parks impact fee,
I definitely think that would be even more intuitive.
even if it were small, it would add up.
Yeah, it would. Hopefully. Okay, any more input? No?
It's really nice to have a new mayor. Thank you.
I will
Thank you
thank,
for running and thank you for
Yeah.
electing her.
yes, I really do want to thank the citizens for putting your faith in me. I know I talked with a lot of people. And anything that you hear and just like put on the spot on Saturday for the Santa, they're like, you've gotta say something. I'm like, okay, we'll do it. But I really am here for the citizens of this town. I have nothing to gain other than to see this town grow and do amazing things. So thank you guys for giving me the opportunity.
I can't tell you how personally relieved I am.
I will
I will make a motion for the first time in 3 months. I motion that we, end the meeting, that we adjourn.
I second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? They just count. All right. Meeting adjourned.
Well.
Okay.
I have here,
What's up?
Yes.
Prevent injury. Twitter.
Rachel?
They have